you so much for being here today. We have some guests in the room, so we want to make sure they feel welcome. Go ahead, Manu, go ahead and introduce your guests.
I have Sophie and Michaela here. They're working on their real estate license.
We say hi, Sophie, Michaela. David, do you have a guest as well? You mind introducing him?
Yeah, I got Rick. He's working with a reverse mortgage on one of my clients, and so I just wanted to bring him and introduce him to our atmosphere.
All right, welcome, Rick. All right. You're not a realtor. You don't get as much applause, my friend. I'm sorry. All right. Marguerite has an announcement she'd like to make about Community Day.
Morning, everybody. So October 7th is EXP's Community Day. And so what we're going to be doing this year for the Sacramento region, we are going to be putting together care kits for the homeless couples and or the unhoused, I guess. For the clear word, I apologize. And we're going to be here from 12 to 2. We'll have lunch brought in, and we're going to try to put together as many as we possibly can. In the past, we've done work for people in their yards and things like that, but we decided this year to put together these kits in partnership with Homemade. So it's for iHeart Community Day. So if you can participate, please message me, or you can show up that day and help us. We're hoping to put together as many as we possibly can. So.
Wonderful. That's October 7th.
October 7th.
10, 12 to 2.
Do these go towards our charitable contribution for Icon? You know?
Washing my car down.
But I will find it for you.
Okay.
That's about.
I mean, it might entice more people to come.
Well, let's hope they all do it.
Right.
But yeah, that's an incentive.
It's an incentive.
That's a good question.
Oh, man.
Thank you, though. If you do have an additional part, then that same night, my husband is doing Comedy in the Barn, and we're raising money for Acres for Hope. Comedy in the Barn will be in Rockland, so if you have any interest in that, you can send me tickets. But last year we raised almost $3,000 for Acres of Hope, which is a fantastic charity.
Is that Kevin McDonald?
It is at Kevin McDonald's house. Yes.
I already bought my ticket.
Oh, you already bought your ticket?
Yeah, 17 bucks.
He does have an additional heart. He does, despite what he said earlier. All right. All right. And
7th is for both. So that day you can come here from 12 to 2 and put together care kits for Homemade. And then that night you can head on over to Kevin's for community for Comedy in the Barn.
love it. Love it. All right. And then speaking about upcoming events do we have next Thursday's event up there?
We don't have any people next Thursday.
Oh, yeah, we don't have any next. Okay, we'll figure that one out. But coming up on Thursday, September 19th, we have Tina Call. We're flying her out. Brent Gove is flying her out from, I believe it's South Carolina, out to speak on how to become the CEO of your business. It's free. It's at PGAR, Placer County Association of Realtors. And then afterwards, she's going to be here for lunch. So make sure you sign up if you haven't already, and bring a friend. The more the merrier. Okay. And then, yeah, that's all that we have in terms of upcoming events. And then we would like to do our lender update. Miss Lindsay Borski. All right, everybody clap her to the front of the room, please.
Oh my Lord.
You good?
I tripped on my own pants. That's why. It's been a little bit of a morning. Did anyone get stuck on the 65? Oh, I had to go wave to Sierra.
Oh, no.
But anyways, glad to be here. I missed you guys. I haven't been here in a couple weeks. I was excited to get to come back and see you guys today. I had some kids stuff the last couple of Thursdays and haven't been able to be here. But I was just thinking this morning while I was getting ready, I was excited to come see you guys because it had been a couple of weeks. And I was just thinking what a privilege that is to work with people that you like, enjoy being around, missing if you miss them if you don't see them for 2 weeks. So just want to say thank you guys for being part of such a wonderful work environment for me. And we really just enjoy the partnership and team that we get to have with you guys. And so off my soapbox, where we are, just want to give you guys a little bit of rate update. We are still kind of conventional loans hanging out in the low 6s. FHA, we've dropped down into the 5s. Actually, this morning was even a little bit better today for some of the down payment assistance. They've even conventional has dropped down to 5.875. 5.75 on FHA for down payment assistance. So we are seeing some good downward movement. There's a jobs report coming out on Friday. We'll see. Hopefully that will be, we'll see a little bit of shift there, and then obviously over the next couple of weeks. So we will keep you guys updated on where we're at, your clients as well. So what we're doing is starting to go through our database, and clients that had been pre-approved maybe a month or two ago that had something at the time, they were looking at something in the 7s. Maybe we've, come down a 0.5% or more for them, and just reevaluating their pre-approvals, and letting them know, hey, maybe you have or haven't been looking. If this makes a difference, this opens up your affordability, or helps ease your payment. I mean, I think for a lot of our clients, what we're finding is they want a little bit more affordability in their payments. So, and then wanted to also, I know we have a lot of first-time home buyers that the team works with. And sometimes when we're using down payment assistance for those clients, we're capped at a certain debt to income ratio for using those programs. But FHA will, if we're not using down payment assistance, will allow us to go up into the mid 50% range for debt to income. VA even higher, as long as we have enough residual income. So if you have those buyers and we're starting to see those rates shift down, they could definitely be opened up for some good affordability. So that was kind of all that I had that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Want to see if anyone has any questions. And mostly just glad to be back seeing all of your beautiful faces today.
All right, any questions for Lindsay? I just want to give Lindsay and her team a quick shout out. We wait, don't clap yet. You haven't heard it yet. So we had a deal that's Valerie's not here. Valerie's at a photo shoot this morning, but she'll be in here a little bit later, so she can fact check me. But we had a deal that was supposed to be closing, I believe, tomorrow. And the lender called us up. It wasn't Lindsay, it wasn't the JJ Mack team. They said, hey, we can't do it because the appraisers, there's 2 homes on one lot, and the appraiser said that the second unit was an ADU. When it was not an ADU, it's been permitted. Like the county, the prelim actually shows that it's 2 homes on one lot. Because it was an ADU, is how the appraiser flagged it, and the ADU was bigger than the primary residence. Like we can't do it. And so who'd we call? JJ Mack and Lindsay Boris, and they were able to look at the prelim, and they're like, oh my gosh, this says 2 homes on one lot. So now JJ called up the lender on the other side. He's not even getting paid on this deal potentially, and said, hey, let's walk you through this. I think you can still get this loan done. They're qualified. It's just your underwriter saw that it was, flagged as an ADU by the appraiser, which is incorrect according to the prelim. So deals, and by the way, that those people are selling. One family's moving across the country to Texas. One family is staying local in Loomis. So there's like 3 deals here in the balance, all because that lender did not read the prelim and didn't read the prelim or the appraisal report. All he checked was just to see if it came in at value. So just wanted to give a shout out for them on that. Any questions
That's
around
worth
those
a
type of
clap.
situations? Yeah, that's a clap. That's like,
We're here for you guys in whatever capacity. If you have clients that are pre-approved with someone else and you just need, hey, this information I'm getting does this sound right to you? Or is there something that it could potentially be different about this? We're happy to at least give you a second opinion or second set of eyes, even if it means that we're not, we're not closing that deal because we just want to help you guys out.
love it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you so
sharing
much,
that,
Lindsay.
Johnny.
All right, everybody, give a round of applause now. So coming up next, we have our keynote speaker. So Brent said, oh my gosh, Johnny, I found this guy. He's absolutely incredible. You have to have him to present at the Thursday team meeting. His name is Robert. Oh yeah, Tom. Oh my gosh. Well, I forgot about you, Tom. All right.
I'm forgetting.
Sorry, Robert. Robert, you gotta tap the brakes just for a second. So Tom is gonna be doing a special presentation tomorrow at PCAR, is that correct?
Yeah.
And so would you play, like, we've all heard in the news what happened recently to an agent, I believe, was it in Vancouver?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tom, you might come on up and share what you're gonna present on tomorrow.
You want to put the Yeah, so I'm gonna just run a quick video. It's about 90 seconds. So I want you to look at this real quick and then I'll tell you what I'm doing.
A terrifying attack caught on camera. Security camera video shows a man viciously attacking a real estate agent. It all happened during an open house in Encino.
We're told that woman said that she had a bad feeling about the guy from the very beginning, so she decided not to go inside with him. Pico 9's Crystal Cruz is live in Encino with more of this disturbing story tonight. Crystal?
Disturbing indeed. This is every realtor's worst nightmare. And she did have a bad feeling. She said she'd met this guy one time before and she knew he could be dangerous.
Ooh.
I think he would have raped me. That's number one. And he would have killed me.
A realtor who asked not to be shown on camera was showing a home in Encino on Sunday when this terrifying attack happened that's left her leg battered. The realtor says his name was Tom and she got a funny feeling before the attack and moved their conversation to the porch, hoping he would leave, but he kept asking questions.
He said, well, can I show you the closet? I said, no. I said, I'm not.
Okay, pretty frightening, isn't it? That was in Encino, California, just 400 miles south of us. And that happened at the beginning of COVID. So if you think that things have gotten more safe and less dangerous out there, I would encourage you to think again. Studies show that when the economy goes down, incidents of violent crime and aggravated assault increase. So these things have happened. We've seen, and if you feel the news, I don't need to fill you in. Broad daylight, robberies, home invasions, things like that, they're on the rise. Life is a series of both the roses and the thorns. And as real estate agents, what do we like to focus on?
Roses.
The roses, right? Hi, nice to meet you. Life's wonderful. Buy with me, hire me, la, 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 la. Well, we're naive if we don't realize that there's thorns in life as well. My goal in this is not to freak you all out and make you paranoid to leave your house, but to empower you to deal with the thorns when they show up. I'm a 30-year practitioner of martial arts, brown belt in Krav Maga, firearms instructor. I'm also a realtor. So my goal, my job in this, well, there's a lunch and learn this Friday, as you'll see on the screen. It's called Get Home Safe in an Unsafe World. And we're just going to talk about the strategies, the techniques, and most importantly, the mindset to be able to recognize something like that when it happens. If you heard, what did she say about the guy? She had a what? A funny feeling. Your spidey senses go off, especially you women. You know when you feel that, right? Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. Even at the cost of being rude and blowing a sale, guess what? If he's more interested in you than the house, you don't have a sale. You have a pervert. You have a predator. So I want to encourage you to not ignore those, and we're going to talk about that, Marguerite.
I just want to mention, I had a listing that was on the market and the guy was a retired firefighter. And for some bizarre reason, I strongly suggested he put away all of his firefighter paraphernalia that he had, all of his stuff, you know, awards and badges and stuff. And I'm so grateful I did because I had somebody come into the open house and my spidey senses went off and he mentioned, oh yeah, I was a retired firefighter, and he was pretty young to be looking like a retired firefighter. And he kept, luckily I was there with a lender, and he kept walking through the house like looking for, he goes, oh, well, where was he a firefighter at? And all kinds of weird stuff. And then he went downstairs and I just did not follow him downstairs. But he came back up, he goes, well, he really put it all away, didn't he? Like he was intentionally looking for those badges and that stuff. And then my lender afterwards said, yeah, he was at 2 other listings in Granite Bay and both the agents felt weird about it. So you're 100% right.
So kudos to Marguerite for having her spidey senses and for following them. She didn't ignore them. So many of us are programmed to be, oh, we want to be polite. We want to be, you know, people skills, and we don't want to blow the sale. There's things that are more important than the sale, and that's your personal safety. So we're going to talk about this tomorrow. It is PCAR. I apologize for the late notice, but it's tomorrow at PCAR from 11:30 to 1. Lunch is included. If you're a PCAR member, it's $5. If you're not a member, it's $10. Everyone's welcome. Highly encourage you to be there. We're going to talk about the skills, the techniques, and how to empower you to protect yourself and those that you love. There's so many things that real estate agents miss in just personal safety. And we're just lucky that we haven't had more incidents like this. Her screaming, by the way, possibly saved her life. Yeah. She just screamed like a banshee and she attracted attention, which is the last thing predators want. So my humble ask is that you all show up, invite everyone you want tomorrow at PCAR. Would love to see you there. To register, please register by 2 p.m. using the QR code attached because they need to prepare for food. Lunch is amazing. That would be worth the price of admission alone, but hopefully you'll learn some skills that will save your life. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.
All right, everybody, who wants more off-market properties? Who wants to know when off-market properties are gonna hit the market? Does anybody want an off-market property? And I see it does, right? So we know about Zenlist, but Misha really quick wants to share about a property coming up.
Yes, I have an off-market property coming up in Rio Linda. It's a 3-2, 1,300 square feet on a quarter acre. It's basically fully remodeled, new floors, new paint, new appliances in the kitchen. So if anybody has a buyer in Rio Linda around 420, 440 range, probably, let me know and we can go check it out.
Love it. Thank you, Misha.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, the moment we've all been waiting for. The guy that Brent Gove called up and said, hey, we have to have this guy present as soon as possible. And here's why. Robert has been ranked the #1 agent and office in all of Southern California with Keller Williams. And what's great is 95% of his business is referral based. He's not out there spending a bunch of money on ads. They're coming to him. And he's been the #1 buying team for the last 7 years in a row. So at the end of Robert's presentation, he is going to offer a great deal on a buyer's mastery course. So just if you're interested in that, just keep your antenna up and we'll get more information on that. But everybody, please give a warm welcome to Robert.
Hello, guys. How are you doing? Hi, everybody.
Morning.
How's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me, guys. And James, can you please enable my sharing screen? Johnny?
You got it. You got it. Should now be enabled.
All right. How's everybody doing today?
Doing all right.
Good, good.
Awesome. Hey, who's excited for this new market that we're in? Put it in the chat box, whoever's on Zoom. And who's there? Can I get a I'm excited for this new market? Yeah, there's plenty of opportunities here in this new market for all of us. Okay, I'm just fixing my shared screen here. It's not showing up. There we go. There we go. All right, guys. Well, listen, I'm so excited to be with you guys. It's an honor to be presenting to Brent Gove's team. I've been good friends with Brent Gove since I joined EXP 3 years ago. And guys, it's been life-changing experience joining a team of realtors nationwide and around the world that share our same beliefs to contribute and collaborate. So that's what I'm here to do today, is I reached out to Brent and said, hey, I'd like to collaborate with your team and help you guys in an area that I've been blessed to be top in class because of all the mentors I've had over the last 19 years. It actually landed me in Gary Keller's last book about working with buyers. I also have a really kick-butt listing system and referral system and how to set the table and negotiate. But what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is going to be about working with buyers, okay? Because this is the market we're in. And I'm going to speak to you specifically at a very high level because I have 45 minutes to bring impact to you guys. And I want to be respectful of time. I couldn't quite possibly bring everything that I've learned over the last 19 years and I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on in coaching in detail, but I want to go high level. My goal is that I bring value to you. Everybody should have their notebook out, write notes, write takeaways, because what I'm going to share with you today, you can actually implement and bring with you into the marketplace, okay? I was blessed to be with Keller Williams for 10 of my 19 years when I was mentored by Gary Keller and it was great. I have nothing against Keller Williams. It was a great opportunity. I was there, and I was actually in Gary Keller's top 100 mastermind. He interviewed me in front of 47,000 people. And this is actually what he said about me when I was on stage, which was kind of cool. I said I was moving fast. And, you know, I'm a New Yorker. I'm from Syracuse, New York, and I do tend to move kind of quick. And I'm a warm type A. So I care about people. I care about the value that I bring to people, and I care about the results. I hold my team to a really high standard. And of course, I hold myself. So the very first thing I'd write down in your paper is, to thrive in this market, I must hold myself to a high standard. I must hold myself to a high standard. And, you know, Johnny, thanks for mentioning my accolades and some of the things I've accomplished. You know, it's been a blessing, but I will say this. We're moving into uncharted territory. We are moving into a place that yesterday's successes might not mean much in today's new world. So we need to move into this new world pessimistically optimistic. And what do I mean by that? We need to be optimistic about who we are and what we can do. We also have to be pessimistic about what we don't know that we need to know to move to the next level in this new market. So be pessimistically optimistic about yourself. Basically, be hungry, humble, and teachable. If you can do those three things, you will thrive always in every market at a super high level. Now, as far as my achievements go, there's not two achievements that I've achieved in my life that mean more than these achievements. To the left is my beautiful family. I've been married for 24 years, and that's a heck of an accomplishment. My dad called me on my 3rd wedding anniversary and said, Robert, congratulations. You've outlasted all 3 of my marriages combined. Matter of fact, my story has to do with the 3 Ds: divorce, dyslexia, and drug addiction. So being married, going on my 25th year, May 13th, to my beautiful wife, Aurora, is just one of the best accomplishments that I've ever done in my whole life. And if I never accomplish anything else besides that, I picked a winning partner that I've had the pleasure to do life with for the last 26 years. Now, those 4 beautiful human beings around us are our kids. I have a 23-year-old son who works in a ministry up in LA with high-risk youth. It's called NLP, New Living Prevention. My daughter's going to beautician school, Ariana. She's going to be 22 in November. My son, Angelo, to the far left, he is getting ready to go to YWAM, Youth with a Mission in Hawaii at the end of this month. And we're super excited for him. He just graduated high school. He's going to go on a 6-month mission, and he is going to go somewhere in the world and help some people group that needs help in a third world country. And he is super stoked about that. And that tall guy to the right of me, well, that's who we call Baby D. Now, Baby D is about 6'2". And Baby D, when I give him a kiss, he's still, even though I'm on my tippy toes, he still smells like a baby to me. He hates when I say it, but he does. And he's 17 years old, and he's a junior. It was kind of sad this year because we always get a picture of our kids in the beginning of the school year in front of our door. And we had it since they're little bitties all the way up until now. And this was the first year we had 1 kid on our door. So, you know what? We're entering into a new season, just like we're all entering into a new season with real estate. This other picture is my second best achievement that I've been able to accomplish, which, quite honestly, if I didn't achieve that, I wouldn't be married for going on 25 years. That's 22 years clean and sober. 22 years clean and sober. And it just reminds me that my life truly has become better than my wildest dreams. And the Lord has been very, very sweet to me and taken all of my took a crooked stick like me and made a very straight line. So those are my 2 biggest accomplishments that I root myself in. And why did I start with that? Guys, I heard once before, if you've done it before, you could do it again. If you've done it before, you can do it again. I would encourage you guys to be rooted in your best accomplishments, okay? And things that are internal, things that are going to last forever. Because can we all just say and put in the comments, raise your hands if you're live, that this business can be like a roller coaster with its ups and downs? Can we all agree on that? And guys, if you determined your emotional state based on today's up or down, or your worth as a person, guys, you might be only as worthwhile as your client thinks you are, or the market says you are, but that's going to change tomorrow. It's going to change the next day. You have to be rooted in your true north, your why. Now, I have two questions on the screen here. Who's concerned with the market that we're in? Put in the chat, who's concerned? And my second question is, who sees the opportunity? We're going to take a kind of a poll. Opportunity in the chat, concerns in the chat. Guys, it really depends on how you look at things. Because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So many agents have been very concerned about what's going on in this new market. There's been all this anticipation since March, what was about to happen. There's been all this anticipation leading up until August 17th, which happens to be my 19-year-old's birthday. And you know what, guys, that anticipation, you had two choices. Either A, you're doing something new to get ready for something that's going to be new, or B, you sit in the fetal position and did nothing, right? I hope and I believe everybody I'm talking about is either done something new or is going to take what I'm teaching you and implement your business to do something new. And if you're in the fetal position, get out of that position. If you're not in the fetal position, high five. This is separation season. This market has so much opportunity. It is ridiculous. Guys, this is the deal. NAR says that there's going to be between 200,000 to 600,000 agents going out of business in the next year. And it just depends on if it's 200 or 600. It just depends on if you're in that crowd. And as long as you're in that crowd, it doesn't matter. What you need to focus on is this. The top 5% of the agents close 95% of the sales. Write this next point down. If you're not in the top 5%, I must get to the top 5% as soon as possible, because the good news is when 200,000 to 600,000 agents go out of business, there's going to be business for the top 5% of the agents like myself, like you. But if you're in the 95% of the agents that only control 5% of the sales, nothing's really going to change for you. So this is the deal. This will be the biggest transfer of wealth probably in our history of our career, if we're willing to take advantage of it. Think about it. Most of your competitors that did 1, 2, or 3 deals a year are going out of business, and they're going to go out by the groves. And when they go out of business, there's going to be all these orphan clients that need your help. They need my help. They need to be helped. They're going to transact no matter what. So what you're going to learn today is how to get those clients. And we're going to do 2 simple things. I'm going to teach you a proven roadmap to cover all 3 of the changes with the NAR. And I'm also going to teach you how to separate the serious from the curious. This is separation season, not only for agents, good and bad. You know, the average is the best of the worst and the worst of the best. So you just got to decide where you want to be. Do you want to be the best or you want to be the worst? And in the Bible says, you know, don't be lukewarm or I'll spit you out of my mouth. Either be cold or hot. This is really a time to decide in your mind, do I really want to take my business to the next level or do I want to get a new career? Just to be honest with you, there's not going to be an in-between, all right? And those that make the decision to take their business to the next level, I'm telling you right now, will be rewarded handsomely. Also, with separating the serious from the curious is going to be with the buyers. We have to learn to start separating the serious from the curious. Now, and I'm going to talk about that in detail here in a minute. So what's going on with this NAR settlement, right? It just passed. It's amazing how still agents don't know exactly what's going on, right? It's funny. I'm negotiating yesterday a $6 million purchase for one of my clients in the Beach of Del Mar, right? And the listing agent, sweet as can be, she didn't understand when I said we're willing to waive the appraisal contingency. She goes, well, I'm not asking you to waive the appraisal contingency. I'm just asking you that if the appraisal doesn't come in at value, that your buyer will bring in the difference and they can't back out because of that. Now, guys, she's a broker. She owns her own little brokerage. She didn't understand that that's the appraisal. I had to bring her to the contract. If she didn't know what was in the old contract, man, it's scary for agents that don't know what are in the new contracts. So what I would say is this: knowledge is power. Read the new contracts, get with your transaction coordinators, get with your assistants, get with the people that you trust. Oops, sorry. Johnny, you might want to have someone admit people into, because it's asking me to admit people into the room. So this is from a very high level, because this is not an NAR class. Repeat after me. This is a sales class, a successful sales class. So you can learn something that you can take out into the marketplace and make money, make a difference, help you get closer to your dreams, your family's dreams. This is about your family. This is not just about you. This is about not just about your clients. This is about your legacy. So on a very high level, we're not going to get into the contracts. I'm not going to tell you it's on point Z and page 3, but I am going to tell you high level what you should already know. And if you don't, that's fine. Hey, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best day to plant it's today. So if you didn't have this knowledge, well, consider me Johnny Appleseed, and I'm putting a seed in your ground, and you're going to be better off than you were just in this area. Number 1, you cannot show properties without a buyer's representation agreement. And guys, you see what happened to that poor lady and that the gentleman showed before. She got beat up. Why? That guy was not qualified. You know, she had a bad feeling about him before. That was a suspect, not a prospect, you know? So now is a time for you to really decide, who do I want to get in contract with? Who do I want to get engaged with? And you can't show properties without a contract being signed. Number 2, as we know, sellers cannot talk about compensation. Your sellers cannot talk about compensation. And make sure you're very careful about this, because we're allowed, at least down here in San Diego, California, where my team of 6 practice real estate, we're allowed to put it in an email. We're allowed to send it off. We can text it, but there's a 2-click rule. We can't have it attached to 2 clicks away from our website, which is connected to the IDS exchange to the MLS. So just make sure you understand your rules, because they're fining us between $1,500 and $5,000, right? Number 2, this is very important. You cannot get paid more than you negotiate with your buyer. So you need to have in your buyer's representation agreement the highest commission possible. Okay? Highest commission possible, full commission. Don't think that you're going to put $1,000 down, and then guess what? The seller's desperate to get, you know, out of Roosevelt, and he's willing to pay 10%, and you're getting paid $1,000 now. Why? Because you tried doing easy. But as we know, Zig Ziglar said a long time ago, if you want to do easy now, things are going to get hard later in your life. If you're willing to do what's hard now, things will be easy in life. Okay. Like, for example, $6 million purchase for my buyer, I'm getting 2.5%, right? And we're negotiating. You know, I have a client where we just closed the deal, and because we put in the contract, the commission, they wrote a check for $4,500 at the close of escrow. All right. And let me tell you this, they were mad in the transaction at the listing agent, who was also an investor. Has anybody ever dealt with the listing agent who's an investor and only got his license to save the commission? They're not the best agents. Like, put it this way, it's the only inspection that my showing specialist has ever been to where the oven wasn't hooked up, the water heater wasn't hooked up, and there was a myriad of other things that weren't hooked up. So they were upset and they wanted all this concession. And at the end of the deal, I said, listen, if he doesn't pay you that $900 you want, you know what, I'll give you $500 or something, you know? And he said, no, that wouldn't be fair to you, Robert. He needs to pay it. Now, mind it, he was paying the difference in the commission. He was paying also for a TC and a processing fee. Like, he was writing a check for $5,000 on top of his closing costs. Why? Because I've separated serious from curious, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And my clients are more than happy to work with me because they understood they made money when we beat out 8 offers. They understood that I represented them at the highest level, and they had no problem paying me the difference that the seller wasn't paying me. So this is the deal. Last thing is that this is simply going to separate quality and class. Quality and class. And what does that mean? You now are going to be in a whole new class of quality if you weren't working with the buyer's representation agreement before. And you should have been practicing like this anyways. You know, I don't like to point my finger at anybody. I don't like to make you guys feel bad, but I do want to take a little poll here. In the comments, I want you to write, How many people were or were not using a BRE, a buyer's representation agreement, and doing a buyer's consultation before this NAR settlement took place? Just write it in there. And amongst you, let's take a pool of hands who's there live in Brent's office. How many people were doing the BRE contract prior to this NAR settlement and doing a buyer's consultation? Raise your hands. And then how many of you were not? Raise your hands. See, this is where the rubber meets the road, guys. To your own self be true, right? Like the Beastie Boys had a great lyric to their song. And when I grew up in New York and I saw it spray painted in the front of my neighbor's house. You know, stay true to yourself and you shall never fall. So you know if you are strong in this area or not. And if you're not, no problem. Remember, Johnny Appleseed, I'm putting the seed in now. It's going to plant. I'm going to teach you some things today. And as Johnny said, you're going to have an opportunity to get involved in a course, which I really go deep in. And it will really help you change your standards. Okay, fair enough? All right. So guys, this is all going to start with mindset. As a Man Thinketh is one of my favorite books. Matter of fact, I just got 4 copies for my kids, came in the mail to give them. One for my son who's leaving and the other one's for Christmas. Mindset is where it all starts. You see what it says here? Impossible. If you break that word up, guys, what does it say? Say it out loud. What does it say?
Possible.
I'm possible. Say it. I'm possible.
Possible.
Come on, say it a little louder than that, guys. You guys got to be
I'm
enthusiastic. There we go. Come on, this is Brent Gove's office. I'm expecting you guys to be going out of your seat. If there's nobody with more enthusiastic in this world than Brett, I've never met him. Like that guy is off the chart. And can we give a round of applause to Brent Gove and Johnny for being fearless leaders, for being guys that really, they exude this every day. They exude this every day. And that's mindset for success. So there's 2 simple points here. If you want to take on the new mindset for the new market, number 1, and this is an old principle from the old market, just to tell you the truth, because principles don't change, tactics do. Principles stand the test of time, tactics continue to change. You know, are we going after pay-per-clicks? Are we going after mass mailing? No, principles don't change. Referrals, relationships will stand the test of time. So check this out. Number 1, repeat after me. I don't waste time.
I don't waste time.
I help clients at a high level.
I help clients at a high level.
That's right. And number 2, to do this, I separate the serious from the curious to avoid wasting time. So say after me, I separate the serious from the curious.
I separate the serious from the curious.
That's right. What does that look like, guys? We're no longer going to be driving people around and being unpaid tour guides and free taxi cab drivers, right? Not going to happen, right? You have an opportunity to clean house. Like literally, we close 98% of the people that I sit down with for a buyer's consultation sign a contract with me. And then out of that, 98% plus of those people transact. Like I can sit down with 50 people. Like I had this one year, true numbers, sit down with 54 people, 48 people signed a contract and 46 people transacted that year. You know, I've had multiple years of 7-figure referral GCI business, 7 figures, multiple years. And even in this market right now, we're having 6-figure months, you know, but this is the deal. You can't get results with people that are wasting your time. Those people are going to cloud out all the good people you're working with. So it's important that you separate the serious from the curious. Fair enough? And the last mindset, the bonus mindset here is I list buyers. I list buyers. Say after me, I list buyers.
I list buyers.
So when you shift your mindset with I list buyers, understand we have to present now. We have to present. What is my value stack? What am I offering them? What are my numbers? What are my stats? How am I going to help them save money, right? So this is the deal. When you list buyers, it brings security. This picture you see over here, this is from before the NAR settlement. And you see the gentleman in the back over here. This is my old director of operations who works together with me, putting all my curriculum together for my coaching company. And he asked me one time, Robert, give me a really clear picture of how you see your business versus everybody else. He goes, because there's a clear difference of how you run your referral business and how you run your buyer's business over everybody else. And that needs to be for you guys too, right? And I said, oh, it's really simple. And this is before the NAR, right? So it's real simple. Below the line is 95% of the agents. And there's two buyers over to the left, and they're like smiling, and they're basically saying to those 5 agents that are upside down and all out of sort, hey, you work for me. Hey, you work for me. Show me what you got and hurry up now. And everybody's running anxiously to the same
Robert,
place.
can you make the screen a little bit better? Can you make the screen a little bit bigger? The slide, it's kind of hard to see.
This it won't go any bigger because of your screen. But I'll,
the view.
yeah, I'll give you. Can you see this? The slide where it says I list buyers.
We can.
Just go to standard. Go to standard.
Yeah.
That's a little better.
Share screen, that should be
on the right one.
Sorry, just keep going. We'll figure it out.
Okay, so this is the deal. Before, and you're going to see it still now, buyers were working with multiple agents. Buyers are working with multiple agents. And this is why 200,000 to 600,000 agents are going out of business this year. And when I say this, I'm sure you're going to agree with me. 30 to 40% of 95% of agent sales were happenstantial, meaning they happened to answer the phone when the buyer called them about 123 Main Street. And if they didn't answer the phone, another agent would answer the phone when they called the other agent they're working with. And if they didn't answer the phone, the other agent would answer the phone. Most buyers did not see us as a value. We're just commodity. They just saw like, hey, there's so many of them. Like there's just so many of them, a dime a dozen. And this forced agents that weren't in agreement with clients to feel anxious, to be running with their heads off, be picking up the phone at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, working every day of the week. And they were hoping they could get across the finish line. Hope. And hope's not a good strategy, right? They had no commitment, they had no clear direction, and they had no consistent results. The way that I've been running my business for the last 19 years is I have commitment from a client, and my clients, we say these two things all the time. We trust you, Robert. We're so happy to be working with you. Lead the way. I get commitment, I get a clear focus and direction, and I get clear and consistent results because I follow a process every single time. So it really comes down to this, guys. Which dog are you? Which dog are you? There's a story about an ancient Eskimo dog hunter. And he used to kind of make a circuit around Alaska, right? And he used to go all different towns. And he used to fight a black dog and a white dog. Now, when he was fighting these dogs, he always seemed to bet on the winner. Always. And they were saying, hey, one day he goes back to a tribe that she's been to before. And one of the young men said, hey, let me ask you a question, dog hunter, fighter. How do you always bet on the winning dog? This is like the 4th time you've been here. Last time it was the white dog, the time before it was black dog, and then it was the black dog and white dog. How did you do it? Like today you bet on the winning dog again. And he said, it's real simple. I always want to bet on the dog that I fed the night before. So I'm going to ask you guys, which dog are you feeding in your mind? Are you feeding the dog that I can't and making up excuses? Or are you feeding up the dog that, hey, I can and I will, and I'm going to figure out this market? It's real simple. Your day starts the night before. Write this down. Your day starts the night before. And I'm going to really encourage you right here to stay off a couple things. Things that are rectangular. They used to be square. We used to want to stay off of, the square box, the TV, eat a square dinner, and have a square life and drink a cylinder to change our state. Tony Robbins talked about back in the day. Well, now let's stay off the rectangle here, because the reality is this. Social media is not going to build you up in this new market, or any market for that matter. Social media, it runs off 2 things: fear tactics and lack, scarcity and fear, plain and simple. So if you spend most of your time on there and you do it right before you go to bed and you do it as soon as you get up in the morning, I already know which dog you're feeding. But if you'll take time to plan your day the night before, if you guys use, how many of you guys have a schedule? Like you guys have a plan of attack. You write it out. Like, look, this is today's. I can already tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. And I can tell you what's going to happen on Friday. Guys, I have a battle plan. Og Mandino said, never go into the day without a battle plan, right? And you'll feed the right dog. All right. So guys, we laid the groundwork for the mindset that you must have in this marketplace. Now I'm going to lay the roadmap for success in the up and coming market that you're currently in. Johnny, could you mute everybody that's in Facebook? I don't have the control, but if you can mute everybody, that'd be great. All right. So did you know there's a right and a wrong way to set up your initial call? Like the way that you have your first impression with your client, can we all agree it's going to make a massive difference? A massive difference. It's kind of like this. If you show up to pick up a hot date on the first date and you're so excited and she sees your picture on whatever Christian Mingle or whatever dating site you're on, and you look real dapper and you show up in a pair of ripped shorts, stains, your hair's all disheveled, you haven't shaven in like 3.5 days, and you just kind of look like you rolled out of bed, you probably set the pace for shutting the door in your face, right? Now, if you show up ready to win and you show up as best in class and you show up as a gentleman, you show up as a lady, you show up kind, you show up on time, you're courteous, well, guess what? You set the pace up like, wow, they're checking the box. Like, wow, I really think I like this person. Wow, they had a great profile, enough so that I was entertained to go to a date. Wow, they show up on time, they show up night. Okay, now you just continue to build more and more and more and more security in that relationship to the point where you guys can decide, is this something we want to take long term or not? But I can tell you, if you show up the first way, you have no opportunity to even get to anywhere even close to her making or him making that decision. Is that fair enough? Well, think about it. We're dating clients, right? Is it not true that they have more choices in realtors than they do on one of the dating sites? Is that not true? They have so many choices, right? In California, if you don't have a friend that's a realtor, you probably don't have friends. Matter of fact, you can get pulled over on the freeway out here and just show them, if you get your license, just show them your real estate license, and they'll look at it and say, okay, they'll take it and won't even give you a ticket for not having ID. There's so many realtors out here. So the way to differentiate yourself, and also the way to separate the serious and the curious, is number one, find out their motivation. Motivation is a fuel of movement. It gets us over the hurdles. Can we all agree that there's going to be hurdles in a transaction? Have you guys ever had a hurdle? Put it in the chat. Have you ever had a hurdle in your transaction that you've helped? Either it's a past client, a friend, or a Zillow lead, right? Of course you have. There's always hurdles. If you understand someone's motivation, you'll understand how to be a great salesperson, because a great salesperson helps someone get from where they are to where they want to go and helps them get around all the hurdles along the way. And guess what? Most of those hurdles are self-imposed. Most of those hurdles are self-imposed out of fear, scarcity, something that happened when they were 3 years old, right? And now if you can bring them back to the motivation, you can help them get through it. Number two, financial. Listen, I heard a long time ago, romance without finance is just plain ignorance, okay? So you need to find out if they're cash or they have a loan. And that goes with number three. If they need to get a loan, make sure that you get them pre-approved. If they need to get a loan, make sure that you get them pre-approved. And they can use whoever they want to use for their loan. But in my world, they must get pre-approved with my lender first. Then they can go ahead and work with whoever they want, because my lender is going to make sure all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. And once they're done meeting with him, they're going to work with him. He's a Todd Duncan coach, for crying out loud. But if worst case scenario, they don't, at least I know I have a bona fide approved client. it's going to be really important that you guys have a great lender on your team. You just had a great lender that came up and spoke, very knowledgeable, I can tell. Guys, you need to make sure you are with the right tribe in this war, period. You will be the vibe of your tribe. Like, you will rise or sink based on your supporting cast. If you have great people's title and escrow and your lenders, you're going to do great. TCs, if you don't, you're going to do a lot of hard work and they're going to undermine you and undercut you. Okay. So get them approved. Once we get them approved, let them know this. And this is going to be hard for a lot of people. This is maybe where my New Yorker comes out of me. Let them know that you're interviewing them. You're interviewing them. That's right. I say this on every single phone call. Hey, John, it's really great. I just got the pre-approval letter back. I'm super excited to be having the opportunity to work with you. And I just wanted to let you know the next step, as we talked about in the initial call, is that we're going to meet for the buyer's consultation. And in this buyer's consultation, two things are going to happen. Number one, I am going to be interviewing you to make sure that you're a good fit to work with my team. Because in my world, the squeaky wheel doesn't get the attention. Can I explain? Sure. Well, if I hire just anybody to work with me and my team, then some great people like you don't get the proper attention that you deserve, because I'm over here babysitting people that are giving us problems all the time. And you wouldn't want to work with us when we did business that way, right? You want to work with us when we hire great people like you, and that's all we work with. So you feel like you're one or two out of our clients that we're working with at a time. And the reality is we could be working with 20 or 30 clients. Isn't that how you want it? Oh, yeah, for sure. Great. Secondly, as I'm interviewing you, I'm going to be architecting and taking down the blueprint for your search. Meaning, I'm not just going to put you on an auto search and just send you 2 bedrooms and 3 baths and blah, 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 and, just any area. And hopefully, you get either sick of the process or, I got lucky. No, I'm going to literally curate a list every day and send it to you. Now, I know you're going to be looking on all the different websites. You're going to be on my website and all the other websites. But hey, listen, if I'm going to send you something, I'm going to do it with integrity. Fair enough? Great. And the bonuses at the end of our time together, guess what? We get to decide if we're going to work together. And if you feel comfortable working with me and I feel comfortable working with you, we'll work together. And the good news is 98% of the people I sit down with sign a contract with me and work with me. Cool. Perfect. I've already set the pace. I've already let them know what's going to happen. I've already let them know I don't just work with everybody, and I set a standard. Listen, in this market, the confident and the competent will make all the money. The confident and the competent will make all the money. Trust me on this one. Okay, so we're going to set the buyer's consultation after they get their financials secured. We're going to give them a time that works for your schedule. Say for my schedule.
For my schedule.
Guys, come on, you're in Brent Gove's office. Say for my schedule.
My schedule.
That's right. And the reason I'm emphasizing this is we are so notorious for getting a client into appointment and then saying what time works for you. And that's the kiss of death, because they're going to tell you little Johnny's 4th birthday guaranteed. And what you're going to do as an agent half the time is say, well, Johnny's going to be in my house for at least 18 years. So he's been here for 4. That means I have 14 more birthdays. He won't be that mad at me. I'll come tuck him in at night. Like, this is the sad state of our business, is it not? We control our destiny in this business, and we control the narrative, and we control the quality control for our clients. And it first starts with, don't let them control your schedule. Because if you have 10 people pulling you in 10 different directions, guys, it plain and simple puts you in a position to get bad customer service. And I think a lot of people think they need to be, 24/7. I'm always available. No, don't do that anymore. Know that if I do that, I'm actually not giving them great service. I'm leading myself into a path down a road called bad service, because eventually it's going to catch up and I am going to be in a position where I don't give good service at all. Okay. So now that we've got the initial call, we set the appointment. Now we're going to hold the appointment. And this is where you're going to set the stage for success. Understand that in the first step, it's going to be all about the finance. And in that first step, we're going to talk to them about purchase price. We're going to revisit their down payment. And most importantly, you're going to revisit their total monthly payment to make sure they're okay, at least in my neck of the woods, spending $7,000 to $14,000 a month on their mortgage payment, right? Like, they need to understand, because sometimes they didn't catch that. There was so much coming at them. We do this every day. They do this every 3 to 7 years. And you need to remember, I remind my team all the time, people don't live in the purchase price. They live in the monthly payment. And for every 1% the interest rate goes up or down, they lose or gain 10% of their purchasing power. So if I understand how much they're willing to spend a month and they're comfortable with, I understand what their down payment is that they're comfortable with, then I can easily adjust as the rates go up or down by the feds. Okay. And that sets to a great experience, and it sets you as a professional. So you don't commit what we call real estate malpractice. The second step in the 5-step process is the home and search. Okay. Number one, high level. Don't show them more than 3 properties at a time, and don't show them more and focus on more than 3 areas. Okay. 3 to 4 areas max. If you focus on too many areas and too many properties, you're going to overload their whole system. They're not even going to be able to make a decision. You show them 25 properties over 15 different areas, and you ask them what do they thought about property 1 and what was the color of the floors in property 15 and so on and so forth. They're in a state of confusion. People do not make decisions in confusion. Write that down. They do not make decisions in confusion. Emotions start the process, then logic closes it. They cannot be logical if they don't know where their head is because they're spinning. Okay. Number 2 in this process is the description. We got to get their home criteria down. And that's the basic, and that's where most agents stop. But the most important part to help control the experience is get their 5 dreams and their 5 must-haves. If you know these things up front, then you understand what makes them tick. And guess what, guys? You can control it up front. If their must-haves are more on the dream list, like, hey, you know that what they want in a house is out of their price range for that kind of view or that kind of area, then you're going to direct them in the buyer's consultation to say, hey, Stephanie, I really appreciate you want an ocean view for $500,000. I want one too. Now, if we find one, awesome. Reality is it's going to cost more like this. Are you okay not finding an ocean view in your price range? What's more important for you, getting into your new home and building equity in the marketplace that's going up like a rocket, or waiting out for something that doesn't exist? And every day you're going to get further away from it, right? And also keep in mind, Stephanie, whether this is the first home or not, hey, I've seldomly seen someone outsave an appreciating market. And with the power of leverage in real estate, as soon as you get in the stream of appreciation, you can harvest your equity later and go put it on a property that's 4 times, 5 times, 6 times more expensive than the money you're putting down because of leverage. Did you know that? No. So do you want to hold out on something that doesn't exist like the ocean view in your price range? Or are you willing to put that down on a dream? And if we find a peekaboo view somewhere, you'll be happy with that. And if we don't, you'll be happy if we get these other must-haves. Oh, sure. Guys, look, right away, I'm in the appointment. I'm not wasting time. I'm moving them through, because if she says no to that, and she's hell bent on that, guys, she's just not my person. And she's not yours either. Steps 3 to 5, the market, escrow, and what is to come. So in step 3, when you're sitting down with them and you're at your buyer's consultation and you just got done talking about the house that they want and the area they want and the dreams they want, now we need to move on to the market. And it's important that they understand, in this market, in my market, you must be aggressive on terms. And you need to ask them a simple question so you understand if they even understand what's going on with the market. What kind of market are we in? Are we in a buyer's, seller, or neutral market? Let them answer. Even if they say seller, or even if they say buyer, or even if they say neutral, explain to them what qualifies that. And I explain to them that it's the economists that qualify that. And I give them what that is determined by months on, days on market, right? How much inventory do we have? Do we have 4 months? Do we have 5 months? Do we have 6 months? And I explain that in detail to them so they understand, because down here, we have areas that are 4 days on the market, a week on the market. And if it's 4 months or less is a seller's market, and you explain that to them, they're smart. They get it. Wow. Okay. Yeah, this is a really hot market. Now, the next thing we must do is explain to them the escrow process. And this is where most agents, it pains me. When I used to be in an office, I don't think I want to be in an office anymore, because it used to pain me to hear agents lose deals over these things, right? You need to tell your clients up front, write this down. It's so important. There's 3 rounds of negotiating, and this is where most agents fail. And early in my career, this is where I was having trouble, right? Because I'd get someone in escrow, be all excited. Yes, we're in escrow, high five, get excited. And then, you know, I'm helping a seller, I'm helping a buyer, and a thing called a request for repairs came through after the inspection. And they're like, what? I thought I'm already packing my boxes. I'm already moving into this place. What do you mean that it needs a new water heater? And now they get all funky and it changes their emotional state. And then the logic starts getting jacked up and their decision isn't being made properly. So just tell them real simple. There's 3 rounds. Number 1, price and terms. That is the offer that we're going to give them. The price we're going to give them, the terms. Once it's accepted, that's the first round. Second round is going to be on condition. That's when we do the inspections. And if we see something needs to be negotiated, we'll negotiate. And the third round is going to be based on value. And you're going to have 3 decisions. If it comes in low on the appraisal, you can either A, take it for the new price and bring in the difference. B, you can come in with a difference that you're comfortable with, or not come in with anything at all and just take it for the new appraised price. Or C, you can just walk away from the deal. You're in complete control. But just understand that if there was 15 offers we were battling with, and this was a very desirable property, I know they have at least 5, 6, or 8 agents still calling them. And history does repeat itself, meaning you don't replicate this view, you can't replicate this area. And what's going to happen is when you go to resell your house, this home that you own in the future, or go to rent it out 5 years from now, you're going to have about 30 applicants for rental and about 15 offers. Won't that be nice to know that? Oh, yeah. Always paint the picture of what's to come. Always paint the picture, because sometimes people get so caught in the moment, they cut their nose to spite their face. Now, really high level here, break down the escrow for them. Let them know if you want to do a 17-day escrow or a 20-day escrow or a 14-day escrow, break it down right here. You know, day 1, we get into escrow. Day 3, deposit goes in, we order our inspections. Day 10, we do our inspections. Day 17, we close. Tell them up front, you know, this is the standard that we're aggressive. And that way we get our offers accepted. See, me and my team in San Diego, we get 8 out of 10 offers accepted. 8 out of 10 offers accepted. The average realtor gets 1 out of 16. This landed me in Gary Keller's last book on page 146 and 147 of Your First Home. This landed me in his book, okay? Day 1, you give them a high five in there and get them excited they're in escrow. Day 2, tell them that, hey, what they need to get their deposit in. Let them know it's 3%. Like, explain to them what's going on. Explain to them on day 10, hey, you're going to get your inspections done by, and what does that mean to have your inspection contingency? Need to get the due diligence done. They need to understand that. And let them know what day 17 to day 21 entails, depending on your escrow. Let them know up front so when it happens, they don't get scared. Now, in closing here on the 5 steps, we have house cleaning, guys. And in this house cleaning, I'm just going to focus on the first 3 here for time, respect time. Number 1, we tell them there's 3 types of sales. I don't show short sales. The good news is less than 0.1% are short sales, but I just don't show them, right? Explain to them what a short sale, foreclosure, regular sale is. Explain to them what a drive-by is. I always tell people, hey, listen, we live in Southern California, and I know when I moved here from New York, I used to always think about Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and drive-bys, and I would always think, you know, Bloods and Crips, and I know opposites attract Steve and Maria. I don't know if you're a Blood or you're a Crip, but guys, leave your guns at home. We're not shooting anybody up, okay? We're just driving by the front of the house before my team shows you inside the house. Guys, this helps you save time. It helps them save time. It takes them 20 minutes to do their drive-bys. It takes you 2 hours to go do the same thing with them after you walk through the property and look at a property they're not interested in writing, okay? And let them know up front, I want you just to get okay with the property so you know it's in the area I like. It looks beautiful outside. I love the pictures on the MLS and then on Zillow, on my Robert's website, and so on and so forth. And if the inside looks as nice as the outside and with the pictures in the MLS, I'm going to write an offer, man. Like, talk to them like that. And then best time to look at properties, try to get them during the week, guys. Tell them weekend warriors lose. And that number 4, Gary actually highlighted that in his book, My Rating System, which I get in detail in my class on how I don't ask any of my buyers to write an offer. I ask them to rate the properties on a scale of 1 to 10. So here's the last part here. This is what Real Magazine has been having me train live presentations on all over here in Southern California. I've done 7 live presentations last 60 days, is what I just went over with you. And how do we get the signature? Okay. How do we get the signature? So you just went through the presentation and I went over at high level with you, and I really go deep down in my class on each step there. Each week we focus on a different step, but on high level, now you're at the point where we need to ask for a signature. And guys, just know this up front, write this down. The natural ending to a great presentation is a signature. So take off the stress off your plate. Focus on the presentation. Signature is going to follow. You're going to ask him 3 simple questions. 3 simple questions. Number 1, do you have any questions? Get some clarity. Number 2, do you see how this process that I just took you through will help you successfully secure your home? And number 3, do you feel like I can help you? Now, make sure you don't just rattle these off like that. Between each question, pause, smile, and shake your head. And let them say yes. Once you get 3 yeses, then you say, great. All we need to do now is simply hire me on so I can help you get what you want and the time you want with the least amount of effort and the least amount of cost, and get you guys into your new home as fast as possible and sign, push the contract over. And this is key. This is very key. Don't explain each page to them and then have them sign. Explain as you have them sign. Get them in the habit. So pass the contract, the pen. Page 1, this is your name. This is the term. This is the blah, blah, blah. This is the commission. Explain and have them start signing. And let them know that I'm your fiduciary. I hold the same client privilege that your lawyer, your doctor, your CPA, your financial planner hold with you. Client privilege. I'm on your side. I'm held to the highest standard. We both enter into this contract, not just you. Let them know they're not getting trapped. They're actually getting into an agreement, an arrangement with someone that they trust. So here comes the commission part, right? So you're going to explain the contract as you go. And when it comes to the commission part, guys, how many of you guys have been concerned about this part? For everybody that wasn't asking for commissions before and didn't do the BRE before, put it in the comments. Hey, I'm concerned about this. Or better yet, I want to get great at this. Write it in the comments. And everybody who's there, I'm not even going to ask you the question. I just want you to say, I'm going to get great at this.
I'm gonna get great at this.
Because my future, my family's future depend on it.
That sounded pretty.
And guess what? Just say this real simple one. I don't want to take a pay cut.
I don't want to take a cut.
So this is the real deal. When you're dealing with the buyers, you need to let them know up front. Just be super honest with them about what's going on. Say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, okay, it's been great meeting with you. You've asked them the 3 questions. You see value? Yeah, great. So you guys have heard about the NAR settlement, and some are going to say yes, some are going to say no. No matter what they say, just explain it to them. So if they say yes, great. What do you understand about it? Let them explain. If they don't know, okay, let me explain. And explain to them what the NAR settlement is, and explain to them, sellers are no longer able to offer commissions for my services. I must negotiate with you on commission up front. And I can only get paid if the seller's willing to pay me as high as what's written on our contract. Now, number 2, not all sellers are going to pay commissions anymore. I believe that a majority of them will, but there's going to be some that don't. No matter what, by hiring me today, you are saving money. Can I explain? Sure. And this is where you have to know your numbers, guys. I know my numbers like the back of my hand. I know the numbers of San Diego. When you hire me on, I'm going to help you get an escrow in 4 to 14 days. Do you know how long it takes the average agent to help someone get an escrow? No, 4 to 6 months. I get 8 out of 10 offers accepted for my clients. Most of my clients' biggest stress is, which of the 3 properties that got a contract accepted on are we going to move forward in escrow on? That's my client's biggest nightmare. Not, I keep getting beat out, like most agents' nightmare and their clients. So therefore, we move fast. And you know why that's important to you and will save you money? No, because the market's appreciating by 1.25% a month. with an average price range of $1.2 million, and do the math for them. This is how much I save you by putting you in escrow in less than a month. And this is how much it costs you with working with the other agent, and do the numbers to your marketplace. And they're like, wow. Yeah. So you can see just by me saying that it matters who you hire. Yeah. Aren't you glad that I have a proven system to get you the results you're looking forward to in the least amount of time, with the least amount of hassles? And as you can see, it's going to cost you the least amount of money. So even if you have to pay the difference or all of the commission, you still benefit in working with me. Fair enough? Yeah. And listen, you know what my agreement to you is? My promise to you is I will fight like a bulldog for you and getting the seller to pay that commission. And you can understand that some things will be out of my control, like the property with 15 offers on it, and half the offers are not asking for commission because their buyers are willing to pay commission. At that point, it would be worth you moving forward on that property. But outside of those kind of properties, I will fight and get the seller to pay some or all the commission. And you have my promise. Is that fair enough? Great. Sign the contract. Guys, if you talk to your clients like that, how many of you, right in the chat box, feel like you could get them to sign contracts at over a 70% percentage? Well, listen, I want to thank you for your time here. I get 98% of the clients to sign the contracts. Actually, since March, we've been putting commissions in all the contracts, because prior to that, let's just face it, San Diego had a $1.2 million price range, $1 million price range. Average commission was completely reasonable here. And I just wrote whatever's listed on the MLS. Boom, right? Because 99% of the agents didn't even use buyer contracts. Now, when March hit, we retroacted all our contracts, put commissions in there, and everybody has a commission in there, and we have no pushback from our clients. It's how you, remember I said this, focus on the presentation and the results will come. So I want to ask you guys a question. Who's ready to take their business to the next level? Put it in the chat, and everybody live there, if you're ready to take your business to the next level, say, I'm ready to take my business to the next level. Come on, guys, you're in Brent Gove's office. If Brett's listening to this, he might be upset if that's your enthusiasm about your business. Who's ready to take this next level?
I'm ready to take my business to the next level.
There we go. I love it. So in closing, as Johnny talked about, I have a 6-week buyer's mastery course, my sales system, where I do a deep dive over 6 weeks, starting September 19th. Where I go through week 1, we go through mindset. Week 2, we go through the buyer, the lead to the committed client. Week 3, we're going to go through the buyer search process and the offer process. How do I set that up? How do we send those emails up? How do we do the offer process? Like, guys, the devil's in the details, right? Week 4, we go to closing a successful escrow from beginning to end. Listen, if you just get somebody across the finish line, you haven't just done your job. I showed my assistant one time 10 listings that we just took. 8 of those were not my past clients. 2 of those were. And I said to her, do you know what is peculiar about that? She goes, what? Those 8 people got what they wanted, but they didn't go back to who gave them what they wanted. She goes, what do you mean? Well, they wanted to buy a house, right? She goes, yeah. Did they go back to that agent? She goes, no. Why did they not go back to the agent? Because people seldomly remember what you did for them, but they always remember how you made them feel. And if you get them in a transaction where they feel like they're on a roller coaster ride going up and down, and when they get off of it, they're like lucky to have their head still attached, but they got off the roller coaster ride, they're going to remember that and probably not come back to you. So I go over how do we do this from the beginning to end, and how do we put in week 5 a bow on it with a tight post-close marketing program. What do I use? I call it the TMP, the total marketing plan. What do I email? What do I mail out? What do I do for calls and birthdays and anniversary, my program? How do I make people feel special 1 year, 2 year, 5 years? Hey, Tage and Niket just put their home in escrow for $1.5 million last week. I sold them that house when I was 27 years old in 2009 for $510,000. $510,000. How did I get somebody for 14 years to stay engaged with me? Real simple. I stayed engaged with them, and I didn't call them every week or every day. I'm going to show you how to do that. So when you're working hard to cultivate a relationship and you do a good job being a good steward, bringing them from where they are to where they want to go, you now have an unpaid salesperson in the marketplace with a megaphone to their mouth, telling everybody, all their friends and family and coworkers about you and not to go anywhere else. And that's how your profit margin gets super high. And then the last week, guys, it literally is this. Now you know, what don't you know? I don't want to leave you hanging. I don't want to sell you a course and then you're kind of discombobulated to take it again. No, listen, that whole week is going to be an hour of just Q&A. That's it. And then we're going to make sure that we make sure that you know where you're going. And if there's a certain part of the process you have more questions on, I'm going to be able to tell you directly. And every single week, it's going to be 1 hour course, 15-hour Q&A. It's $997. And because you guys are here with Brent Gove, and I love Brent, I love Johnny, I'm going to give you guys an offer for $697. Hit that QR code you see on the screen and go into our waiting list. Class will start on September 19th. Guys, I told you one of the D's of my story is drug addiction. I did 7 months in inpatient drug rehab from 18 to 19 years old. And I remember 42 people died in the last 5-month rehab that I went to in less than 3 years after I left that rehab. I remember I was shaken up so bad because when Chris went home, I was in Miami Beach, Florida, went home to Detroit, Michigan, and overdosed on heroin the next day. He was sleeping in the bed next to me 13 hours before that, and he had a 9-month-old. I remember talking to the drug counselors, and we had like a grief thing, and the drug counselors sat us all down in a big conference room and said, guys, look to your left and look to your right. 90 days from now, those people will not be here. They'll be in jail, institution, or death. Now, I know we're in real estate. I know this business can drive us crazy. We can end up in an institution. I know that, hey, if you guys don't get your sales up to the next level, you might be stealing things, talking TVs. I hope not. You might end up in jail. And I hope no one ends up dead. But the reality is, guys, the NAR said 200,000 to 600,000 people will not be here next year. So I just want you to look to the left and look to the right and just know there's a good chance that one of those people will not be here, and it might be you. And I'm here to help as many people as possible, make sure that doesn't happen. And listen, it's $100 a week, and you're going to be dealing with somebody who has nailed this down to the highest. And this is the time, whether you get with me or you get with another coach, guys, lean into improvement. You need to lean into improvement in yourself. Benjamin Franklin said this, and I'll close. The number one thing to invest in is yourself. Abraham Lincoln said, if I had 6 hours to cut down a tree, I'd spend the first 4.5 sharpening my sword. So guys, thank you so much for having me here. I really, really appreciate it. It's been an honor to be with you, and I hope this helps many, many people.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for being on the call today. We went long. Was this good?
Yes.
Was this helpful?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see you next Thursday. Bye all.